All right, let's dive in. This time, we're tackling Brian Tracy's No Excuses. It's all about self discipline and the path to success. If you're ready to really level up your life, well, you're in the right place.
What's great about Tracy is he doesn't mess around with vague motivation stuff. He gives you a system, a real way to understand why self-discipline is the key.
Yeah, he doesn't hold back, that's for sure. Right away, he throws out this idea of someday I'll. It's where most of us get stuck, dreaming, but making excuses for why we haven't reached those goals.
Oh, totally relatable. It's human nature to avoid discomfort, right?
For sure, 80% of people living on someday I'll. I think I've got a timeshare there. Someday I'll start that business. Someday I'll get in shape.
Classic. Tracy says our brains just naturally choose the easy path. So instead of the hard work our goals need, we make excuses, justifications. It's like we build a comfy prison on that island.
So, how do we break out? Tracy's got a powerful answer, and it's not just about willpower. He tells this story about Kottmeyer. This guy had studied thousands of success principles, knew them all, but when asked about the single most important factor, Kottmeyer's answer was self discipline is the ability to do what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not.
Wow, that's a mic drop moment right there. It cuts through all the noise and gets to the core of it. Aligning your actions with goals consistently, even when it's hard. Choosing what matters in the long run, even when the short term is comfy. Think about the impact that could have.
Totally. And then Tracy digs into what holds us back. Two major enemies keeping us stuck on someday I'll. First, we talked about it, the path of least resistance, taking the easy way out.
Makes sense.
But the second one, he calls it the expediency factor, choosing what's convenient and now W, even if it wrecks our long-term goals.
We've all been there, right?
Big time. Netflix binge instead of that project, fast food over a healthy meal.
It's that law of cause and effect. Every action has a consequence. When we keep choosing expediency over what truly matters, it creates a ripple effect, taking us further and further away from where we want to be.
So how do we escape that? How do we shift from immediate pleasure to focusing on the future like successful people seem to do? Tracy uses a really interesting phrase, long-time perspective. He says this is key to upward mobility, separating those who achieve from those who don't. Like people sacrificing immediate fun to develop skills that will pay off later. That athlete training relentlessly, pushing through pain for their Olympic dream. Or the entrepreneur working late nights, knowing it'll lead to freedom eventually.
It's building that muscle, that ability to prioritize the future. Tracy suggests something simple but powerful. Imagine your ideal future self, 5, 10, 20 years out. What have they achieved? Once you see it clearly, work backward. What skills, habits, actions got them there? It's not denying present joy. It's about choices today aligned with that future you're building.
I like that a lot. And speaking of research, Tracy brings up a businessman named Herbert Gray. This guy spent years trying to figure out the success code, studied successful people everywhere. What did he find?
He boiled it down to this. Successful people do the things unsuccessful people don't like to do, even when they don't feel like it. It's simple and tough. They know success comes with discomfort, pushing beyond those comfort zones, like there's a price to pay. And that price is often in discipline and hard work.
And Tracy's own story is so inspiring. He started with practically nothing, but through sheer discipline, built a remarkably successful life. Shows us that circumstances don't define us. It's our choices that shape our destiny. So what are those uncomfortable actions you've been avoiding? What do you know deep down you should be doing to move closer to your goals?
That's a great question to sit with for a bit. And once you've got those actions in mind, the next step is a plan. Tracy's big on goal setting.
Yeah, he talks about the power of writing down your goals, how much it increases your chances.
It's not just vague aspirations. It's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Oh yeah, that's smart goals stuff.
There's science behind it, too.
He mentions a study showing an 1,100% increase in achievement just from writing goals down.
It's amazing, right? It's all about our brain wiring. When we write them down, we activate this thing called a reticular activating system. It's like a filter, sifting through all the info we're bombarded with and bringing our goals to the front, programming our subconscious for success.
So we've escaped someday I'll, facing those uncomfortable actions, setting clear goals. What's next? Tracy brings up this 3% rule, investing 3% of your income back into learning and development. Even tells a story about a guy who did this and ended up making $1 million.
It's a cool way to think about finances, not just budgeting, but investing in yourself.
Yeah.
When we prioritize learning, we're not just getting information, we're getting skills, a mindset that can change everything.
He tells another story about a dentist who went to a conference in Hong Kong, learned this new technique, ended up working less, earning more, and retiring early.
It's amazing how investing in yourself can have those ripple effects. It's like knowledge compounds over time, just like money in a savings account. Yeah. The more we invest, the greater our potential becomes. And that's not just about money. It's about personal growth, fulfillment, creating a life we love.
Absolutely. Okay, we're setting goals, investing in ourselves, but what about when things get tough? How do we keep going? This is where persistence comes in. Tracy has some great quotes about this, linking it to self-discipline and even self-esteem.
He talks about passing the persistence test, those moments when you want to quit, but you push forward. That's where resilience comes in. We all have setbacks, it's inevitable. But it's bouncing back, learning, and keeping going that matters. Tracy even has his own warrior's creed, beliefs that help him stay focused when things get hard.
Love that. A warrior's creed. What a great idea. He shares a line, I will lay me down to bleed a while and then rise and fight again. That's dedication.
It's a powerful way to think about the mental strength we need for real achievement. There will be times we feel defeated, discouraged, but it's the commitment to getting back up that defines us.
So we're being persistent, bouncing back, but what about fear? It can be paralyzing, holding us back from our goals. How do we overcome that? Tracy has a really interesting take on courage.
Oh, yeah.
He says courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the mastery of fear.
That's a good one. Fear is natural. It's supposed to protect us from danger. But often the fears stopping us from going after our dreams are just mental barriers.
Right, and Tracy says it's not about getting rid of fear, it's about controlling it.
He gives some techniques for developing courage, like visualization, positive self-talk, even that act as if method, pretending you're already courageous.
He talks about the 100 call method for salespeople to get over their fear of rejection. It's about taking massive action, pushing through the fear until it loses its power. He also tells this story about a woman working for a terrible boss. She was terrified to confront him, but she finally did, and it changed everything. Gave her the confidence to set boundaries and speak up. One of Tracy's quotes on courage really hit me. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the control of fear, mastery of fear.
Powerful stuff. We have more power over our fears than we think. When we confront them head on, we often find they weren't so scary after all.
This has been an amazing look at the foundations of self-discipline. We've uncovered so much, from the excusitis epidemic to goal setting, persistence, and courage, and we're just getting started.
That's right. In part 2, we'll see how these principles work in the real world, specifically in business. Get ready to learn how to use self-discipline to boost your productivity, leadership, and success at work.
Can't wait. See you there. Welcome back. We just dug into the foundations of self-discipline with Brian Tracy's No Excuses. Now let's see how those powerful ideas work in the real world, especially in business.
It's fascinating how personal qualities like persistence and courage become huge assets professionally. It's not just working hard, it's working smart, using self-discipline to your advantage.
Exactly, and Tracy jumps right into that, working smarter, not harder, with the 80-20 rule. He says 80% of the value we create comes from just 20% of our tasks. So we got to find those high-impact activities and focus on them ruthlessly, putting energy where it matters.
Imagine pinpointing that 20% of your work that gets 80% of the results. It's a game changer. And it takes self-awareness, discipline to step back, analyze, and find those crucial tasks.
I've definitely been stuck doing busy work, feeling productive, but not really making progress. Tracy talks about time wasting too, cites a study saying the average employee wastes 50% of their time on non-work stuff. That's crazy. Think how much we could do if we got even some of that time back.
It's a wake-up call for sure. Back to self-discipline. Staying focused, avoiding distractions, prioritizing what matters, making conscious choices about time and energy.
And it's not just individual productivity, it's building a reputation. Tracy says it's about having a track record of hard work, consistent results. That gets you noticed, earns respect, opens doors for growth.
He has this line, always say, I want more responsibility. It's that proactive mindset, seeking challenges, showing you're willing to contribute at a higher level.
Initiative and ambition, employers love that. He tells a story about his own career, starting entry level, but always going above and beyond, always asking for more responsibility. Soon he's running 3 divisions, making more than anyone else.
Shows how self-discipline and that proactive attitude create a self-fulfilling prophecy. When we show our commitment, we create opportunities for ourselves.
Love it. So what's the secret to business success? Tracy has a simple formula. Come in a little earlier, work a little harder, and stay a little later.
It's about going the extra mile, outperforming the competition. In a competitive world, even small efforts add up over time, giving you an edge.
And it's not just the work, it's presentation too. Tracy says people like to promote those who look like them. Dress for the job you want, not the one you have.
Projecting competence, professionalism, confidence. We judge people based on appearance, so present yourself in a way that matches your goals.
Makes sense. Now let's talk leadership. Tracy's clear that leadership and self-discipline are connected. You can't be a good leader without strong self-control.
It makes sense when you think about it. Leaders set the tone, they inspire others through their actions. Self-discipline is the foundation, leading by example, showing commitment to excellence.
Tracy outlines 4 stages in a career: employee, supervisor, manager, then leader. And at each stage, the need for self-discipline grows.
Right, more responsibility each step of the way, not just managing tasks, but people, resources, tough situations. That takes self-awareness, emotional intelligence, self-control.
He highlights 6 key disciplines of leadership: clarity, courage, decisiveness, excellence, integrity, and responsibility. The pillars of effective leadership.
And he's clear. Leaders aren't born, they're made. It's about developing those qualities through effort, practice, and personal growth.
Okay, so we've got the basics of workplace success, from productivity to leadership. Now, let's talk sales. Tracy has a great line: nothing happens until a sale takes place.
So true. Every business needs sales to survive and grow. It's the fuel that keeps things moving.
Tracy talks about a sales mindset. Even if you're not in sales, we're all selling something: ideas, skills, our value.
It's about persuasion, influence, essential skills everywhere. Pitching a project, negotiating salary, even convincing your partner to watch a movie, it's all selling.
Right, and Tracy says focus on the customer. Understand their needs, wants, then tailor your offerings to match.
He brings up the Pareto principle in sales: 80% of sales from 20% of customers. So find those high-value customers and build strong relationships.
Makes sense. He also talks about rapport, trust. People buy from people they like and trust.
He suggests active listening, empathy, finding common ground, create a real connection, show you genuinely care about their needs.
And of course, we got to talk about objections. Tracy has a framework for handling them. He says objections aren't rejections, they're requests for more information.
It's changing how we see objections, not as obstacles, but opportunities to clarify, educate, address their concerns.
It's about closing the sale. Tracy says lots of salespeople are great at building rapport, but struggle to ask for the business.
It's about confidence, courage, asking for the order. He has closing techniques, but it comes down to showing the value and creating urgency.
This sales deep dive has been great, from mindset to closing the deal.
And in the final part, we'll tackle finance, the last frontier of self-discipline. Get ready to learn about taking control of your financial life, making smart choices, building a secure future.
All right, welcome back. Final part of our deep dive into No Excuses by Brian Tracy. We've covered a lot: habits, careers, relationships. Now we're hitting finance, an area where self-discipline really makes a difference.
Yeah, what's interesting is how Tracy approaches finance. Not just rules and strategies, but like a mindset thing. He says financial success isn't about luck, it's about choices, habits.
That wealth mindset idea, I love that. It puts the power back in our hands.
Totally. And Tracy's convinced that financial success is predictable. Not about hitting the lottery, it's about consistently doing the right things.
He believes anyone can achieve financial independence no matter where they start.
Inspiring, right? Like you become who you decide to be. And Tracy lays out some practical steps, starting with, living below your means.
This is where self-discipline gets real. Easy to get caught up in lifestyle inflation, spending more as you earn more.
Yeah, you get raised, suddenly you need a bigger house, nicer car, it never ends.
Keeps you stuck on that hamster wheel.
Exactly. Short-term fun killing long-term goals. Tracy says resist that urge to spend everything, make a choice to save, invest for the future.
Delaying gratification, that self-discipline muscle we talked about. So how do we break free? Tracy's got this idea: paying yourself first.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Setting aside savings before bills, like it's a non-negotiable expense.
Smart. Makes it automatic, takes the guilt out.
I tried it, really works. You don't even have the chance to spend it. Tracy also talks about managing debt. He says debt can be a tool, but gotta be careful.
Right. Avoid those high interest traps.
Credit cards, yeah, he says pay down debt, ASAP, create a budget, track your spending.
Knowing where your money goes, that's key.
It's about taking control. Then once you've got spending and debt handled, start thinking about investing.
Makes sense.
Diversify: stocks, bonds, real estate. Spread the risk.
And that compound interest, so powerful.
Even small investments over time can grow huge.
Like a little seed turning into a giant tree.
Tracy's insights are great, both practical and inspiring. We control our financial destiny. It's about choices, habits, discipline.
And this applies to so much more than just money.
What really stuck with me was his focus on continuous learning. Read books, go to seminars, get advice from experts, not just for your career, but for life in general.
Becoming a lifelong learner, always growing, expanding your horizons.
This deep dive into no excuses has been fantastic. We've seen the power of self-discipline everywhere. Habits, work, relationships, finances.
It all comes down to us. We're the ones in charge. Our choices, habits, actions, they shape everything.
So as we wrap up, we want to leave you with this. Think of one area you want to improve, just one area you want to improve. Just one. What's a small step? Something you can do today, right now, to use self-discipline.
Don't wait for someday. Start now. Embrace that power within you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.